I pressed it. All right, PKN episode 244. Kyle was just going on about Star Wars. He's not a fan. I am a fan, so we'll see where this goes.
God damn, it's garbage. They
Which one are you talking about right now? Just
they were like, could the white male be interesting? No, absolutely not.
He's talking about the most recent in the main thread of Star Wars. So the most recent is Solo. Before that was the one where Luke Skywalker comes back. I forget the
episode
name.
8. Episode 8, I think it is. And
is this the one with the girl lightsaber or
yeah,
and then the stormtrooper who's now a black guy, and it's not that Cuban who I was led to believe was all the stormtroopers. Okay,
correct. Well, all right, now that's canon. The fact that they've gotten away from everyone being the same clone of Boba Fett. That's
just I have so little knowledge on the subject. That's the only nail sticking out of the board.
I think what Kyle's saying is, long before we were inclusive for the point of being inclusive, Star Troopers got diverse. I think they ran out of clones. Does that sound right? Kyle might know.
Essentially, yes. They ran out of clones. I want to say that there were some attacks on that water world where the cloning was being done, but also I want to say they ran into the old Xerox issue of copies are not very effective. But in Star Wars episode, and look, I'm a longtime hater of Star Wars, but I'm a longtime lover of the lore of Star Wars and the nitty gritty details of Star Wars. I find it fascinating, and I've always thought they had this wonderful background, wonderful story, and wonderful idea, and then George Lucas is just a faggot. But this, oh my God,
he's on to something.
He recently came out and said that.
You're seeming pretty credible.
I want to hear Kyle what he said. You know who hates Star Wars? Star Wars fans, right? No one hates Jar Jar Binks as much as people who like Star Wars. No one gets angry at what a faggot C-3PO is. He's like a gay wimpy librarian android. Why? Why?
Lame.
Like he's comic relief. I'm okay. He's the kind of comic relief I can stand. I have no issues with C-3PO. Oh, dear sir.
When there's
somehow I'll make it through this desert all by myself with this little faggot robot.
Aspects of Star Wars are designed to sell toys.
Camouflage.
That whole
shiny gold.
That whole thing about the pod racing, I'm like, this is in here for the video game. They are planning on the merchandising and the video games and all that bullshit as they come up with the plot of the movie.
As a 12-year-old, that part of the movie was sick.
See, I was too old for it.
When I left, I was like, man, I want to be a pod racer.
See, I went with friends from work, right? This is a different environment.
Yeah. So
what individual,
George Lucas
specifically did you hate about it, Kyle?
George Lucas recently came out and said that Jar Jar Binks was his favorite Star Wars character. So let that sink in.
Oh, he's trolling. He's clearly trolling.
Oh, I hope he is. Yeah.
Yeah, the billionaire creator of the beloved franchise is trolling. No, he's serious because he's a piece of shit. So Star Wars Episode 8, I recently watched it. I know it's been out for well over a year or something like that, or close to it. But it's been on Netflix, and I was like, holy shit, 4K, let's go. And I watched the thing, and I'm watching it, and it's being a little annoying because, like, basically Rey, the female Jedi apprentice, is going to Luke fucking Skywalker to be trained, and he's like, the Jedi need to die. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. This guy's tired of this shit. He's like, the Jedi.
Luke wants to kill the Jedi?
Well, not that he wants to kill the Jedi. He's like, there don't need to be any more Jedi. Like he's like,
stop making them.
Stop making them. He's like, I'm not gonna train you to be a Jedi. Like, there don't need to be any more Jedi. And there's this whole like sort of tearing up of the old, embracing of the new. There's even a scene where like even Luke is hanging on to the old books, the old Jedi manuscripts, or something like that. But he's thinking about burning them, and then he's like, "No, don't burn them." And then Yoda shows up, like Yoda's ghost, and he goes, "Lightning!" And he burns them. He burns them all, and the Jedi sacred tree. And Luke's like, "The sacred scrolls!" And Yoda goes, "Not much of a page turner, are they?" So even Yoda is like, "Yeah." Fuck the old.
That's so funny. I did not think there would be a book burning portion.
There was a book burning. There was a book burning in Star Wars. Sig Heil. And so finally the time comes when our heroes are getting scarce. They are being wiped the fuck out. The resistance is. At first there's maybe like 10,000, and then there's like 5,000, and then it's like shit, there's 1,000 of them left, and then it's like, are there more than 200? I don't think so. And they're like backed into a corner. It's a very what is it from Lord of the Rings? It's a Helm's Deep scenario.
Oh, okay.
They are backed into this little corner, this box canyon. They put up the giant wall, and the Empire is there, and they have a new super weapon that's for like a siege weapon. It's like Death Star technology on the ground, and they're blasting the door, and the door has been blown open, and it's about to be game over because the bad motherfucker, the Sith Lord from the Empire is there. He's got all of his AT-ATs and fucking attack troopers, and everybody's there. And
the numbers appear to be 200 versus. It's hard to count 100,000, 200,000, 200 versus infinity.
The bad guy in this is Kylo.
Kylo Ren, yeah, Kylo Ren's there, and he is mad, which matters when you're a Sith. You know, we always talk about how getting mad doesn't matter in a real fight, but if you're a Sith and you're literally powered by rage and hate,
I am the most powerful Sith in the universe. No one can stop me.
He's going.
I'll take you all down. Like, that would be hilarious.
It really does matter because he's reaching new heights of his power, and suddenly, fucking Luke Skywalker, who this whole time has been like detached from everything, and he's off on this other planet, living on an island on a planet. I mean, and when I say an island, I mean like enough room for one guy, really. Like
is that where he sucks on that animal tit and like
gets
gets the
He's
milk.
got the green
Game of Thrones stole that.
It was hot, and so, but he fucking shows up, and I'm just like, yes, this is the moment that I have watched 2.5 hours of nonsense for. Luke fucking Skywalker is here. The guy from my childhood with the laser sword has fucking arrived, and he's got the cloak on. You know, he's super confident. He walks out of that door, and he faces the tens of thousands of Empire troops or whatever the fuck. And Kylo is like, "Every gun on that man now!" And literally every gun aims at Luke and fires immediately. There's no waiting around. There's no time for a Deus Ex Machina like fucking Millennium Falcon swoops in. Like, no, Indiana Jones is not coming. He died in the last movie. They just start shooting him, and the ground is just exploding. He is exploding, and because they're on this like salt planet, like the ground is turning from white to like blood red, and you just assume that he's just exploding. And I'm like, oh my god, did they make a joke out of his death? And the smoke clears, and he's still standing there, like meh.
So now you think that he deflected all those with his lightsaber because he's been doing that for 30 years
or
now.
He's just got an energy he has his own aura where like that sort of technology is way beyond hurting a Jedi like Luke fucking Skywalker. And Kylo's like, "Send me down, sir. We should really maintain this position here." And he's just like, womp, and knocks the guy unconscious. And he goes down to fucking face him. And it's Kylo Ren versus Luke fucking Skywalker, and they engage in lightsaber battle in which Luke is like, already at the beginning, he's so hyper confident. He's just like, even if you strike me down, you know, it'll mean nothing. I'll always be with you, you know. And Kylo's coming at him with these crazy attacks, and Luke is doing like acrobatics, but like lazy acrobatics. Like this is nothing to him. He's like backsliding out of the way, and like all this crazy.
It's all
shit.
dodging, right?
It's all dodging.
And it's well understood within the Star Wars universe that, well, was it that Vader or Luke, who's like by far the most powerful to ever exist and most powerful that ever will exist? One of those two, right?
It's kind of complicated. Like I don't think we need.
I just mean like Kylo running in that like displayed him being angry because any other Jedi would be like, well, you're gonna get butt fucked.
I don't know if they're that easy to stack rank.
They're not easy. They're not all that easy to stack rank. But Luke is by far stronger than Kylo. Both with the Force and in lightsaber combat. He's just got more experience in it. And Darth Vader, however, was more powerful than Luke, but that's
not as powerful as Yoda, who is the best swordsman, etc., etc.,
and not as powerful as the Emperor. But all the more powerful ones just
This
died.
is like when 3 teams beat each other during a sports season.
No,
but who's really the best?
But I think the Emperor is very powerful, but in terms of just lightsaber, I think Yoda is actually on top, and it's difficult to stack
Yoda in lightsaber battle. And so
I thought he just shocked people.
Yeah, he did. He beat Yoda in their crazy fight when they were jumping around those hovering senator crafts back in like episode 3. Okay. In any case, this goes on for a bit. And fucking Kylo runs and swings his lightsaber right through Luke, like in a strike that would just cut him in half at the waist. And Luke turns around like, "What the fuck, bro? You think that's gonna work?" And Kylo's just like, "Ah!" And he just stabs the lightsaber into Luke's chest, and Luke's cloak is like burning around the lightsaber as it penetrates his entire chest. And he's just like, "Meh." And that's when you realize Luke's not even fucking there. He is sitting cross-legged, floating back on the island planet, and he's just sent his like chi to this planet to fake fight Kylo so that the good guys can escape out the back door of Minas Tirith.
I think a hologram would be a description everyone understands. He kind of has a Jedi hologram for some reason. New power.
But it's really
He should have busted that power out earlier.
He's sending his chi there because in doing so, he exerts all of the life force he has remaining and dies for real back on the island planet. And Luke Skywalker thus goes out like the biggest bitch in all of Star Wars. It was shockingly embarrassing. It was absurd. And even Mark Hamill says this, like before they got on him, and we're like, "Hey, Mark, you want to ever be in anything again? You want us to look into that part of your contract where it says you can't talk shit? You want to talk shit, you're going to get hit. George Lucas is going to come down with the Yoda squad, and we're going to fucking sue your ass."
What did he say that was talking?
Mark was like, "This is not how," and this is like 2 years ago, like before the movie came out. Mark was like, "I don't like how they handled my character. That is not how Luke Skywalker would have done things. Everybody expected Luke to come back and be like this big bad badass, and that's just not how things have been handled, and I'm not happy with it." Essentially.
But wait, there's another motive to look at in this, right? Mark Hamill's complaint is essentially, "Don't you think I should keep starring in all the Star Wars movies?"
Nope.
I think
that wasn't his point at
there's
all.
more. Yeah, it kind of was. It was like, I should be doing triple-decker Lindy's, bouncing from diving board to diving board in my lightsaber fights.
He can die, but he dies his heroic death.
I die the
actually
most.
shows up.
It's something appropriate for someone as. No, look, all
Yes,
the
he is the
Jedis
star
die.
of Star
They
Wars.
die shitty ways. Obi-Wan Kenobi was really awesome in the prequels, but if you watch how he dies, what does he do? Just lift his lightsaber and let himself get killed?
He absolutely did that.
Goes like
yes.
this.
Yeah,
But that's
how does
that's
Yoda
needed.
die again? I don't even remember.
Yoda gets
you probably remember.
Yoda just gets sick and dies.
Hepatitis C at once.
Yoda just gets sick
Shouldn't
and
have fucked
dies.
those green
And by the
bitches.
way, try to find me an old Jedi who doesn't like turn into a recluse pussy, right? Like that's what Yoda did. That's what Luke Skywalker did.
It was bad every time.
That
it was
robot
bad
with
every
four
time.
arms never was a pussy. He was.
Oh,
I stand
General.
correct. Oh, he
General
was a Sith,
Grievous.
though, I think. Yeah.
General Grievous didn't give a fuck. He was just like, "Oh, one's not enough." Zoom, zoom, zoom.
There's a
Like
meme about how many arms get cut off in Star Wars. Like they just cut arms off all the time throughout the Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And then General Grievous comes out with like 4 arms and they get cut off one at a time. And you're like, oh my God, really? Like you're embracing the meme. But
No, Luke went out like an absolute asshole. Went out like a complete bitch. I knew he was gonna die in this movie. I felt like that was a given, and he should die so that you can make way for the new. Make way for Rey. Make way for her to become like he needs to go out like Obi-Wan did, and allow Rey to come in as the new Luke type character. Whether I like that or not, it's irrelevant. That's how the storyline should have gone. But for him to like not even actually be there, for him to be like cross-legged, fucking sending his chi across the universe to fake fight the big bad just to buy time, was just such he was just so underused. Like he's got to be the biggest fan favorite. He's my favorite.
I think he was underused. And it's hard to watch him be a pussy. Right, because when we were introduced to Yoda, he was already a pussy cunt bag, right? Like he's impossible to love. I can't do my Yoda. I am a pussy, am I? Or whatever the fuck he says in the swamp, right? And then you meet him, and you don't even know he's the Jedi. He's just like a fucking like troll monster from the swamp who's not badass
Don't
at
feed me after midnight.
Thank you. That's a great line, right? So we met Yoda that way. We never saw like the swashbuckling lady dipping, kissing Yoda that might have existed 200 years ago. But when we watched Luke Skywalker go to that phase of his life that so many Jedi seem to go to, and it wasn't fun it was hard. And it was pretty badass up until the point you realized he was a hologram. Then you're like, I've been pranked. And it's a little bit disappointing. But I still can't help but look at it like Mark Hamill's complaints through the motivation of an actor who wanted to be the coolest guy around. You know, what if whoever played Yoda was like, what we really want to see here is me saving everybody?
Yeah. Yoda got his time in the sun. Yoda got a couple of just insane badass lightsaber
prequels,
battles.
yeah.
And in the prequel, of course.
Yeah, he fights Saruman in
yes,
that one.
I think
absolutely
that's
he does fight
Dumbledore
Saruman.
if you're thinking of.
No, that's
No,
it
Count,
actually is
what was it? Count
Dooku.
Yeah.
Yeah, Count Dooku was played.
This
by,
is my friend, General
I didn't
Grievous
get
and
your
Captain
reference. I'm
Crazy.
sorry.
Yeah, same
Yeah,
actor.
all right.
Yeah.
I thought you were just straight up mixing things to make sci-fi nerds angry.
No,
so
he
I
actually
joined
found
in.
fucking Saruman. It just incredibly, shockingly disappointing. It's just so bad. Like such a mishandled series. And look, I get the thing like makes all this money and it's got all these. Everybody loves it and everything, but they don't. Everybody doesn't love it. I guarantee if you took a fan vote, like a fan poll, and there were two options, one was hey, make it 5 options, but I get to pick one of them. I guarantee mine wins. Where Luke Skywalker comes in, not only does he do some crazy piloting on his way there, because he was known for that. Almost above anything, he was the greatest pilot in the fucking universe. Like first, he does some crazy piloting shit where slowly the ship is like he's cutting angles so sharp and he's going through like holes so small that the ship is slowly being chipped away, right? And he's doing this for what seems like way too long for the ship to still even be flying, but he's using his force powers just to keep it flying. And C-3PO is on the back doing his repairs. He is rejoined with C-3PO.
R2-D2.
Yes. Our C-3PO would be of no assistance
Yeah,
whatsoever unless
Oh,
Mark
damn.
Hamill needed a
I
quick
don't know what to do
butt
back
fuck.
here.
Do you need help translating?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then he gets there and he has to hack his way through like 1,000 minions first and a few ads. And then when he gets there, clearly already injured and drained, he still gives Kylo the fight of his life and only goes down because of some sort of cheap shot tactic or the reveal of the big bad from the
And
Empire.
Kylo loses an arm. Just to stay
Kylo
with
definitely
canon.
needs to get hurt.
Kylo gets his arm cut off too.
No, I'm saying
That's
in
how
my
we
fantasy,
do things in Star Wars. I would
Yes.
throw an arm loss in
or
there.
a leg. Let's mix it up.
Ooh.
Kylo loses both legs or
That's
something.
some
and
creative work right there, Kyle.
yes, thank you. I mixed things up big time.
You were the guy in like the writing room where it's like, how about this time we do a leg? They're like, get the fuck out.
Throw him out the window.
Or
You're
Luke
fired.
Force,
Yeah.
maybe Luke Force chokes him, because the Jedi never do that. That's a dark. That's a dark. But he's just like puts a Force choke on him. I mean, look at how they changed Luke's character, right? Where they had this flashback where Luke is like, I saw a meme that said this, so I'll just mention that. They showed like back in episode like 3 or whatever when he shows up to the Death Star all in black. And like the Emperor and Darth Vader and he are there, and he's like, kill me, I'll never join the dark side, what he said more importantly was, I believe my father can be turned back to the good, no matter what evils he's done. And keep in mind, Darth Vader did huge evils. He wiped out the Jedi Temple, killed all the younglings. He killed so many of the actual ruling Jedi. But Luke Skywalker is saying, I believe he can come back to the light. I believe in that. And then they contrast that with Luke standing over Kylo Ren going, he had a bad dream! like ready to strike him down, because that's part of the storyline, Taylor. Like Luke was training Kylo, and Kylo was having a bad dream with some dark thoughts, and Luke sensed darkness in him. And his immediate reaction was, vroom! And gonna strike him down in his fucking sleep. Gonna offline raid Kylo Ren.
For a dream?
Basically, he sensed darkness in him.
What he
Great
sensed
darkness.
was that this guy was going to be a Sith. And he's right, but...
Yeah.
There
Well,
it is.
we'll never know. He certainly was when his master tries to slash him in his sleep.
He sensed that he was the kind of guy who would hold a grudge.
Well, he was right about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Star Wars is garbage. It continues to be garbage. It'll always be garbage until George Lucas is long dead, and perhaps somebody like darker takes the helm. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's so upsetting. It never makes me happy. Not even
Let the guy
once.
who did Batman do it.
Here's the thing.
Christopher Nolan.
So Kyle says Star Wars is garbage, and I think that why he's so upset with it is not that the films are terrible. I think the films are good.
Oh, they're good.
It's just that the source material is great. and
It
the
would-
movies
it-
fall
it-
short of that. Like the canon.
To me, it's Hobbit. Like it's garbage. Like the Hobbit is garbage. Like if you just take the Hobbit and make it its own thing, just call it
a good
Smurfs
movie
3.
it could be good.
Then you're like, holy shit, these Smurfs are funny, and look at them hopping on each other's heads in the river. Oh man, I'm glad these are long as fuck. It's fine. But when you say, oh no, actually this is the prequel to the Lord of the Rings. Oh well, they must have got like a whole new director, huh? No. This is also Peter Jackson's work. They just made him do it on a post pad in like 15 minutes one night.
Yeah, I think
Jesus Christ. Well, they still use the Weta Workshop, right? And all the live action stuff. Oh no, those people.
No, it's
are
all
lost their
CGI.
jobs.
You can see orcs glitching into one another.
the other movie I think of like this is The Last Airbender. So I'm up to speed on the first season. Then after that, I didn't get as into it. But The Last Airbender has some amazing source material that could be a nearly Lord of the Rings type movie. But instead, they made a movie that was just like, I thought it was good. And
You know what else
people
is
are
garbage
upset
now?
about that gap. Go on.
Fucking One Punch Man season 2 is pretty shit.
Oh no! I haven't.
Not
started
only
it.
is not only is the animation not as good, and when I heard the animation wouldn't be as good, I'm like, no big deal. It's not like this was a work of art. But
Yeah.
like this, not only does the style feel different and lesser, but every image feels zoomed in. Like a character like reads a video game that he's holding in his hand, and I'm just like, I'm trying to back up in real life. It's so zoomed in for me.
Have you watched One Punch Man lately?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I watched it. I thought Colin might like it. So I got the One Punch Man with the English words as opposed to captions. And I'm like, Colin, let's watch this together. And I never realized how like abusive that watching experience is. The characters mumble and then scream. Things like tip tap and then slam. And the animation, like, oh my gosh, good luck if you're epileptic at all. Is that the word with the seizures? Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, it's just like flashing, zoom, zorp, bang at you. And
No. It gets crazy. I like it. I like it.
I like
and
it
if you
too,
look
but
at the
on
webcomic-
rewatching, I didn't think it was as good as I remembered it.
If you look at the webcomic, they really capture like what's going on in those pages. Sometimes like frame for frame, and they've continued that into season 2. Like there's a shot with a gigantic bird monster crashing into a building, and Saitama just grabs it or whatever.
Is it based off a webcomic?
I always get the words wrong, like manga versus whatever the fuck, but
Anime?
whatever the literature is called. But anyway, it's both a comic book essentially and a web comic. I think it may have began as a web comic, but that's irrelevant in this conversation, because not only is the animation worse, like everything just looks a little bit different and not quite as good, and like action scenes don't look as good. It seems like the frame rate has been cut down by like 50% even. It looks bad to me, but I feel like that's sort of lost its humor. It didn't feel fun to me. It didn't feel funny.
That's what I'm curious about. So if people don't know, One Punch Man is kind of mocking overpowered superheroes. So this is a guy who can beat any monster with one punch. And not just monsters, like satellites come at the Earth. So he just jumps and punches it. Not satellites. What is a giant comet called? Is maybe just a comet, but
Asteroid.
Asteroid is what I'm going for. Thank you. An asteroid is coming and it's going to end Earth, right? So he punches it, and now it's okay.
Yeah,
And-
they've calculated the force created by a couple of his punches on those.
No,
YouTube
that's
channels.
incalculable.
It's absolutely calculable.
Stop
And
doing that, Kyle. I've been pronouncing it right.
And well, it's verging on nuclear powered punches. Okay, it's absurd.
It's oh Jesus, you're doing it. You're such an asshole. Such an asshole. So yeah, his punch. They're sort of mocking the idea that these superheroes are so overpowered that they can do anything and nothing prevents a challenge to them. And they made a pretty compelling 10 episodes on the idea that this guy is literally bored by all the bad guys. He hopes that something will come along that catches his interest, and nothing really can.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many episodes can you make that joke? 10, 20, 30?
You can keep it going because to
Apparently
me,
not even 20.
Well, to me, they focus on a lot of the lesser characters, right? They on his apprentice, the android, who's he's always getting in fights, and he's not quite as powerful as Saitama by a long shot. And there's all the ancillary characters and the lesser heroes, and they're doing a lot of the fighting. And Saitama is kind of the guy who comes in at the last minute, and he's like, "All right, let me handle this business." And you part of the season 2 is that, hey, the world ending threat is on the way. We have 6 months left before doomsday. It's been predicted by a seer, and it's on the way. And so that's kind of the story in season 2. I've seen 2 episodes. It's fine. It's just I'm not laughing as much. I'm still gonna watch because I like the story. I like Saitama. He seems more serious in this season and a little meaner. He's a little more wise this time around than he did in season 1. But I didn't get the humor anymore, and not that I didn't get it, I don't think it was there. So not as good as the first season so far. There's 2 episodes.
Well,
Maybe
that
we get better.
sucks.
Are we saving Game of Thrones talk for PKA?
Yeah, we should save it.
Definitely, because this episode was better.
Yeah, I loved it. But yeah, it's on Hulu if you want to see.
I won't say anything.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't stop myself. Do you think she was a little CGI'd, hotted up in that scene?
It's hard to say. I don't think she was hotted up though.
It's hard to say.
It was
either
a dark
not
enough room they could have fiddled around with it without making it apparent.
I've seen look. I did a lot of research after that scene, and I have seen every like semi-nude and nude photo of Maisie that exists. That is representative of her hotness. It really is.
It's
like
weird.
in her body type.
I hate to call her a butterface, but if you would look at her from the neck
that's
up,
being kind. I don't think a butterface is traditionally someone who's like everything is great. Butterface. Maisie is just like an average looking girl with kind of a tight little body.
That's to me what a butterface is. If you were to look at her from the neck up, you would expect a fat chick under there. No, you don't see the same way?
Not at all. No. Wow. I would expect an ugly chick under
from
there.
The neck up, you'd expect an ugly chick? Like how's
Yeah,
that?
she's not attractive. She's ugly faced. Her face unappealing.
If you were to look at her from the neck up and guess what her body is, you'd expect an ugly chick. You're already seeing whether she's ugly or not.
I would expect the body to be equally ugly.
Just scarred or something.
Well, in the book,
all burnt up. All burnt up.
Like a total dog.
Yeah.
Remember? Like in the books, it was like, my older sister is so hot, and I'm just a horse.
So is Hermione, but the makers of Harry Potter thought better of that one. Like, we're gonna do like 8 of these, right, guys? Yeah. Do we really want
Do we want to be looking at an ugly bitch?
Find me a hot child. Find me a hot as fuck 9-year-old with good genes. Find one whose older sister you want to fuck and cast her. And that's what they did. But yeah, I don't think they necessarily prettied her up. I think one of 2 things are happened there. Either A, they just gave her, she was wearing like a chest wrap and they CGI'd a titty on there, or B, that was just all her. But that's about the size her boobs are, and that's how her body looks. And I've seen maybe 4 or 5 images to suggest that. One of them has the actor that plays Sansa dumping a bucket of water on her from behind. I saw an Instagram photo from her friend's Instagram where they're in Japan, and they're all topless, looking away from the camera, but in thongs, and they're like posing, and her back's very muscular and her butt's very well formed. And then I saw one of those photos that the people have x-rayed, where they apply that filter, and she's wearing like a tight, like sports bra type thing, and you can basically see her boobs and her nipples, and so that gives me all the data that I need to say for sure that like they didn't make her boobs bigger. They're not necessarily, they might be fake, but it's not that they gave her like bigger or better boobs. She just maybe didn't want to show her boobs. I also saw her interview and Gentry's interview, the actor's interview, where they discussed the scene and how she came to know that she was gonna be topless, and how she talked to the creators about how much we're gonna show, how much, and they're like, how much do you want to show? And there was sort of a negotiation about how much she wanted to show. So it could have been some CGI going on there, but
I wonder how those negotiations go down. They're like, all right, we're gonna jump in really hot,
full beef.
So we're thinking full puss.
No, it wasn't a negotiation. They asked her, she thought about it, and she got exactly what she wanted. Like, it wasn't like they were asking for beef and she was asking for nothing.
They may have asked for beef.
That's not what the interview says. But
I saw
thought
it
that
clearly in the interview. We asked for a lot of beef. We used the Trump technique. We started high when we wanted to go right in the middle, and we ended up with a little side nip.
it's hard to tell. She looked like she had a tight ass, and,
We
and what
asked
I
for
don't
back
expect from
burger.
her, and you see it in all of her scenes, she's not dressed up hot. She's kind of like she has no
Frumpy.
waist, you know,
Dressed like
she's
a man.
little frumpy, a little straight. She passes for a boy early in the show, but when she pulls her pants down to show her butt cleavage, and you see that female curve to her, it's just way better than she was in my mind's eye.
No, that's what her butt looks like. If you keep doing a lot of research on Maisie, like nude-ish photos, like I have.
I like how you had like top of mind 5 different sources to bolster your point. Like,
Yeah,
you
I knew
weren't
this was
joking
going to be.
around.
I knew this was going to be a topic, and I knew that, and I was curious. I had a little thoughts on the matter, and so I found all of the like not safe for work pictures of Maisie that exist. I've seen them all. I've seen the one where she's sitting topless, wearing the thong under a waterfall cave scenario, and she's like looking over her shoulder, kind of like, yeah, I'm barely legal. She's giving you that look. We've all seen that one before. At the daycare or whatever, and so yeah, I've seen them all. I think that was her. It was almost certainly her. There may have been a little polishing here and there or something like
Well,
that.
there's always some polishing. It's Hollywood.
And it's very possible that like maybe she just wore like flesh covered nipple covers, like pasties or something, and then they just like CGI'd the nip on or something like that. You never know. But that's her body. That's her body.
I did
type.
see that theory on Twitter. Yeah,
Yeah, you don't
someone
know.
was very
You know
adamant, and that's what's great about social media is people getting in like at each other's throats arguments and fights over like she is not wearing pasties. You can see right here in this still of her tit that's real tit. Are you retarded, dude? Have you ever seen tits? It's so obviously a pasty. By the end, it's like, I know where you live. I know where you work.
That was a CGI body double, as proven by the fact that Ghost was just a dog.
Yeah.
That's where the budget went.
Yeah, so, well, let's limit our Game of Thrones talk to only the validity of that nude picture, because I don't want to get us off into the real.
Sure. We'll definitely cover that heavily on the show. It'll be fun. But yeah, Star Wars garbage. Season 2, looking of One Punch Man looking kind of poorly, and Maisie has a nice tight little body.
She does.
And she could pass for underage.
You know what? Good for her.
Am I alone in saying that she's like? I don't.
Yes, you are. Yes.
No, shut the fuck up. Ugly is not the
Why?
word.
You were about to say.
Go ahead, what was I about to say?
I thought you were going to say that she's surprisingly attractive.
No, I was going to say that she's got a chubby face, which would imply a chubbier body, and from the neck down, actually, she's good. It's just she has a face that you'd expect on a heavier.
And she's got
person.
those eyes that look in different directions.
Very kind of like Sid the Sloth.
Yes.
From Ice Age.
She looks like there's something wrong with her.
Well, not quite that far. Like 3 more centimeters, and you'd be like, "What the fuck's happening?"
1 more centimeter, and she's bagging groceries.
3 centimeters is a lot.
Okay, you're right about that. Now that I'm thinking about it, anybody's eye gets moved 3 centimeters in one direction, you're gonna look like a fucking loon.
People who start whose eyes are too close. Oh, there's actors there. Their eyes are too close.
Ron Perlman.
Okay, let's look him up.
You know how like Mo and Curly and everybody's like, whoop, 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 he's poking with 2.
Mm-hmm.
With Ron Perlman, you could do 1 and get both eyes.
Oh, you're on something here.
That's the one thing I think of every time I see his face is how the fuck is this guy getting work with the eyes that close together?
How does he have no 3-dimensional vision? yeah, we went the same place.
I'm just going to celebrities.
But I would argue that even Ron
eyes
Perlman, if you separated his eyes by 3 centimeters, it'd be overdoing it.
Celebrities whose eyes are too close together. There's a whole Pinterest page on this.
3 centimeters is about 1.5 inches.
Oh yeah, well then that's ludicrous. That would look horrible.
He's a big guy. I need his head in my hands, then I'd know.
You need to feel it.
I'll get on it.
What's that movie where the blind kid like takes? Oh, is that in Hook? Where like they're not blind, but when he comes back after aging, they're like, "It is him." Like when they You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that might be Hook. Yeah,
It
I
is
was thinking you were going to say Dumb and
Oh.
Dumber. The scene where they give the blind kid the dead parakeet.
That made me laugh
Pretty
so hard
bird,
as a kid.
Pretty bird.
I just thought he was quiet.
Oh, it's
So
dark as
get
shit.
a dead bird.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's fucking great.
It was a shame that Dumb and Dumber was so aggressively bad.
Yeah,
Because I had nothing but fond memories from when I was a young kid watching Dumb and Dumber. And I'm sure if I rewatched Dumb and Dumber, I'd think it was dumb.
nah. Go back. It's Dumb and Dumber still holds up. It's still funny as fuck. Like, and there's some crass, crazy humor in there, but there's also some really smart jokes and gags in there, with the rape in the gas station and everything, and like Lloyd's conversation with that hot FBI chick when he's pumping gas and he's spilling gasoline all over himself,
Yeah.
and she's asked him about. He's like, "Those your skis?" She's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Both of them?" just like they're so stupid. It's great. But Dumb and Dumber was a real letdown. It was a real letdown, and I love Dumb and Dumber.
Have you seen oh Lord, I just forgot that movie. Super Troopers. Have you seen Super Troopers 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think?
I was drinking heavily at the time, but so I vaguely remember it. Frankly, I think there was some laughing involved. I remember laughing some. Yeah,
It was funny, but it was one of those things where it's like this is independently funny, but if you compare it to the original, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But that's how so many of those movies are.
A couple of those guys are making a new show where they're firefighters. It's a new TV show, and it's got 2 or 3 of the like Broken Lizard Squad, and they're essentially firefighters pulling hijinks on each other, kind of in the same vein as Super Troopers, but it's a TV show this time.
That could
That's
be
coming
funny.
soon.
I'll give that a go.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. It looked okay. I'll watch.
Is it like a Netflix show or a real TV show?
It's a real TV show. I don't remember the network.
They're called the Broken Lizards, or what would you say?
Yeah, like Broken Lizard Squad or something like that. That's like the comedy group. They've done a few projects aside from Super Troopers. None as well received or as popular.
Did you guys watch Jack Ryan, the TV show, Amazon?
Liked it a lot. Yeah, John Krasinski,
never
big
seen
fan.
that.
I watch all his shit.
Yeah. For me, 6 out of 10. I'm a little frustrated that Jack Ryan, the main character, is flawless. Every decision he makes is the most honorable, moral one you could possibly make. Every scene that he's in, he is the hero of that scene. The guy he's not complex enough. He's like Superman without any powers, just perfect morality. And you live in a murky world, right? You live in a murky world where you hire bad guys to help you to stop the other bad guys from doing bad things. But not Jack Ryan. No, that fuck's got to be against all the bad guys because he can't stand to have any bad happen anywhere. And, also he's like an analyst that does paperwork and Excel spreadsheets. But of course, he's a Marine who runs around with this pistol saving girls from catastrophes and shit. And it's like a children's version of an interesting show.
It's who wrote those? The Jack Ryan character. They did a ton of books. It's a really famous guy.
Tom Clancy.
It's not Tom Clancy. Yeah, that's kind of how all of his like all those guys were kind of like that. I'm trying to think of the one that goes the
Did Harrison
Hunt for the
Ford
Red
play
October?
one?
Yeah, he played a bunch of them. Yeah,
Okay.
That's one of those series of movies that like if you just like catch them randomly, you don't realize that these are all kind of connected into the same universe. But it's almost like a poor man's James Bond. Where he's the same guy in all those movies. Yeah, your criticisms are probably somewhat valid. I liked it though. I thought it was pretty good budget. We got some titty in there. I appreciated the titty.
I was surprised to see. I was like, oh right, because like 99.9% of that show could have been on like ABC in prime time, and then all of a sudden there's a titty, and you're like, huh? What do you know?
That's a titty. It's a good titty. Not just side boob either. We got to see it. And so yeah, I enjoyed the show. I'm looking forward to season 2 whenever that happens. Yeah, I like John Krasinski though.
I do too.
Everybody likes that guy.
I don't know him, but like somehow I root for him, like second only to Chris Pratt. Somehow, like he just.
I was going to bring up Chris Pratt.
Him.
Yeah, everybody likes that guy, and he's like
Well, not everybody. Now that we all know he's part of that homophobic church.
Oh, is he?
Oh, well, no, but like I saw something with that, and I don't follow this stuff, but I saw he said something like totally benign about being a Christian or something, and people came after him, and like all like his only responses ever are just like so nice and kind that by the end of it, anybody coming after him is like, hey, let him leave Andy alone. Leave Parks and Rec Andy alone. Let him believe in God. Stop it. Stop bullying Jurassic Park guys.
It turns out he's a hunter too, and there were some people who took offense to that. Got upset.
Oh,
that
what
he
a
was
bunch of
hunter.
douchebags.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I saw the hunter interview, and it he's like when you wake up in nature, you're part of nature. Like you didn't come here and see it. You woke in it, and the sun rises and the animals awake, and you do too, and you're part of this scene. And then he describes hunting, and it ends with like, when you shoot the deer, and it's like, I'm not heartless. Something feels for me for the fact that an animal's now dead because of me, but we're gonna do this and this and the other thing, eat it, skin it, and I don't know, whatever you do with them, put them on your wall. And it seemed pretty like sincere, peaceful hunter to me, right? Animals eat animals. I know that we have like sentience that the others don't, but still, animals eat animals. Back the fuck off. And people didn't. But it was similar in that they got mad, and then when you hear it yourself, you're like, you got mad at that?
Yeah.
It's really you who are out of place here. This guy's sweet.
Yeah, I hate when people rip on hunters who are actually just like they're eating everything, they're using it. They're not like, oh man, I'm gonna go blow a rhino's head off for fun. Like it's a chasm of difference, and you just know those cunts are sitting at home in their leather chair putting on cosmetics made from ground up fucking cow bones to get the gelatin. It's like you're a bitch. Like he's just going out and like experiencing the real killing of the animal, something that you think is so ruthless, but you're playing into that industry and those industries every day.
I just think we should be able to kill them because they're not as smart as us, and we know how.
Well, I don't think we should kill people who are against hunting.
No, I mean the animals. And like I don't like when they kill rhinos, but only because there's not many of them left. If there were like rhinos running around in the neighborhood and you were constantly, fuck, I hit another rhino on the way into work.
If that was the rhino situation, we'd have to do something about it.
Like,
You can have a rhino crossing thing on a windy wood road.
I wish animals fought each other more often. Oh, here we are back to this temp-hole top. But rhinos versus hippos, please get me some footage. I want to know.
That would be cool, but hippos are so much meaner.
I've heard that. The hippos scared to death Steve Irwin. He was very concerned about being in the water with hippos. He's like, if these were crocodiles, I'd be comfortable here. But these are hippos, and I've got problems. And I thought, hippos? Aren't they cuddly? Aren't hippos sweet? I played Hungry Hungry Hippo as a kid, and I know a thing or two about this.
Think about what's being suggested by that game, though. Nom, 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 nom.
Those little beads could be baby heads.
I want to say the hippo kills more people in Africa than any other animal. They're the number one man killer.
I have elephant in my head. You could be right, though. I'm not very certain.
Yeah,
it's hippo, and it's because they're like they're insanely territorial. Like you accidentally take like a tentative, and they're fast. Like in the water, they don't even swim. They sink themselves to the bottom and they just run.
I saw one seemingly outrunning a speedboat. They're like,
I know that clip.
And you just see it looks like a torpedo just under the water surface coming at them, and you're like, the fuck? Did someone just launch a torpedo? And they're like, Coliata! Coliata! Which I guess means fucking go.
It's a fucking hippo.
I looked it up real quick. Hippo is the most dangerous large animal. Mosquito, most dangerous, period.
Thank you.
Everybody loses to mosquito.
Yeah, somehow.
When you have malaria on your side as a power-up, you're going to win.
Do you watch Tier Zoo?
Tier Zoo, I haven't heard of that.
What? You would love Tier Zoo, Taylor. This is like you don't know Game of Thrones. Tier Zoo is am I saying it right? I'm saying it right?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's pronounced tiramisu, and it's delicious.
Oh, I found the channel. Yeah. Okay.
I have it right. Tier Zoo. Right? Yeah. And basically, they talk about which builds are the best to play in it refers to all these animals in video game terms, which is what Taylor just did, and it made it pop into my head. When you have malaria as a power up, they'll be like, the swordfish specked a lot of evolution points into a pointy face, and it was really a waste of time. But to hear this language, you'll recognize so much of it, and they'll show a lot of animal fights, like geese against bulls and shit like that. And it's like 1 point, 100, and they'll just like, this is a tank build. This is I don't know what the opposite of a tank build is, but
this is so fun. I'm going to watch the top 3 underrated animals. I don't know what that could possibly be about. Like what criteria they're using for it, but I want to know now.
And so sometimes like I'll see a channel, and I think we all do this as YouTubers. Daydream that like we could have done this, or like we all did. Hydraulic Press channel. The whole planet is like, why did I think of that? That's so easy, and there are millions of views per video. I couldn't do what this guy does. He just he understands the I don't even know the hierarchy of animals. Like what class of animal is a hyena? It's not canine. It's some other thing, and he knows them like the back of his hand, and it's amazing, and he makes amazing video. And if he comes into my notifications, I click it.
I like Sam, the cooking guy. I enjoy his cooking videos. I've been watching a lot of that. Today I made my own spaghetti sauce from scratch. I got these San Marzano Italian whole peeled tomatoes, and it's 7 p.m. now.
Potatoes in spaghetti sauce?
Tomatoes.
Oh.
I think I started with potatoes and changed it, but they're delicious. And I started my sauce at like 1 p.m. and so it's been going for 6 hours now. It's just incredible. It's so fucking tasty in there. I already ate some, but it's just still simmering. It's still getting better and better as time goes on. I never made my own sauce from scratch. I always get it from a jar. I thought it was going to be too hard, but it's really fucking easy to make spaghetti sauce.
My wife makes it. I'm talking out of turn. I don't really know. I think it's as hard as you make it. Like there are spaghetti sauces that are probably incredibly complex and
yeah, some of them are. Sometimes if you're making a meat sauce, sometimes people will like roast 3 different kinds of meat, and then they'll simmer that in the sauce all day. I just used
beef, pork, Italian sausage.
I made Italian meatballs with red pepper, and I seared those, and then I threw them in like after the sauce had already been going for 3 hours. And I cooked those in the sauce. But otherwise, it's just garlic and onions and tomato paste, basil.
Just for spaghetti? Or are you making a different kind of pasta?
Just for spaghetti. I like spaghetti. It's my favorite pasta. I've had the others. Spaghetti holds
I like
up.
mastacholi the most.
I'm not familiar with mastacholi. What does it look like?
It's like the tube, like the shorter tube with like the 2 like angles on the end. If you hold it to the side, it looks like a trapezoid or something. I don't know.
Okay.
And like, because you mix all that up with your meat sauce and everything, and then that little middle area always gets filled with meat and sauce. Yeah. And
I like rigatoni. Yeah, it's kind of
similar. Rigatoni. I like pretty much every kind of pasta.
Pasta's great. Love pasta. Yeah, and I did stuffed mushrooms.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, I had a good lunch today. That's all I've had today, and it was fucking amazing.
Making me hungry.
Yeah,
I had pho today for lunch. Do you guys know what pho is?
It's Vietnamese fish soup.
Yes, but not fish. Unless there's fish in the broth that I don't notice or something. Mine was a rare beef is what's in mine. And man,
that sounds good.
I am always so full. I drink the broth that it comes in. So the amount of food you get is fine. Like there's some noodles in there and a lot of beef. And then I find the broth irresistible. And these bowls are big. You could put a human head in one of these bowls. And I leave, and I'm just so full of salt water. Yeah.
You're just like bloating.
Oh, yes. I walked in, and my shorts fit fine. I walk out, and I'm like, man, I got to cut back. And it's just salt water. My whole belly's filled with it. And
that's so good, though. Like miso soup. Or like mushroom soup, or like mushroom and vegetable soup. Every time you go to a Japanese place and they give that to you, and it's just you eat all the mushrooms and all the tofu and all like the stuff out of there, and then it's just salt water. But I want to keep drinking the salt.
So you're only going to be fat for like a day or two, and then the salt will wash through, and your water retention will go back to normal.
I like
you don't like
hot
those
and
soups?
Sour. No, I don't like any of those soups. I get a hot and sour soup. That's the only soup I like.
Hot and sour soup is all right.
It's
I
my
prefer the
favorite.
salty to the
Tangy.
sour.
I want to be like you'd
Delicious.
like this one. It sounds exotic because it's Vietnamese, but it's just like chicken broth anywhere else.
I've had it. I don't like chicken broth though either.
Oh,
It's
well,
good.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird to
What's
me.
there to dislike?
That's like not liking water. But if you don't like
I
chicken
don't
broth,
drink
you
water.
won't like pho.
Yeah, he doesn't drink water either, so that's
I don't drink water.
fair.
Hot and sour soup, my favorite soup. I've made it from scratch. I ordered like the fucking black fungus or whatever the fuck off the internet. All the the stuff that goes in it. Yeah, it's really good.
We went to my girlfriend and I went to a hibachi place the other night, and the guy who came out and like was taking orders and everything was a white guy with blonde hair, and it immediately put me in like a sourer mood
Mm-hmm.
the situation.
Oh,
and
you
but
racist.
Then after I ordered from that guy, the real Asian chef guy came out, and like in my heart, I was like, "Oh, thank God!"
Why did
Like,
he
I
have
wanted-
to
I
be
wanted-
Asian?
Because if I got some fucking Nordic-looking guy doing the hibachi thing,
It has
it's
to be a
taken
Japanese
away.
guy.
It's taken away from the experience. Like I want to feel like it's a real Japanese chef doing it. You know?
Hello, my name is Julio.
Oh.
Hey, catch the shrimp.
Yeah.
I
See,
don't
that
want
would
that.
work for me. To me, they're just circus performers. And it's really not about like, oh, this is what Japan is. They're just circus performers.
They're
I
not
like to
even
pretend.
people.
Yeah.
No, I need a Jap. All right, I want him to come out and
Any
make-
flavor of Asian, just let me get myself into.
See, I
the
disagree. I
feeling.
saw there was a Filipino at this place one time, and I was like, I looked to my
the
girl.
Mexicans of Asia.
Any
Mexicans
flavor
of
of Asian
That's
would
what I told
include
her.
Indians and Russians. So I don't think you mean what you say.
Yeah, he's Eurasian.
Russians
That's
are
not even
Asian. Like
close.
they're Asian.
He's from the steppes. like get him out of here. No, I want an actual
steppes?
Jap up there. Yeah, the steppes. of
Mongolian
Eurasia.
steppes.
Yeah. So he's
Okay.
fucking. I need him in there with some talent, right? I need him like fucking clinging that spatula and that pokey thing around and the
Hell
knife.
yeah, making the onion volcano.
Mm-hmm.
I'm less impressed with the onion volcano because I can do it than I am when they take the egg on the spatula and throw it really high and then catch it over and over, and it's like down, 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 and on the last one they flip the spatula sideways and it cracks on it.
And sometimes you get the kind of guy that'll bounce it with a spin on it, and then he'll toss the spinning
Yes.
edge into his top hat,
Yes,
and then
I've
he'll
seen-
take it out of his top hat and crack it again.
I love that. Like the more elaborate, the better tip this gentleman is going to get. I've seen some lazy ones, right? They just kind of
Really?
they come out. They come out and it's like because I was into hibachi for a while, and everywhere we went, it was like hibachi. Let's go. Let's see this shit. And at first I was just like I wanted to catch the food in my mouth. I wanted to get on board. By the end, I'm that guy sitting there cross-armed, like that's not even a tier 3 maneuver. And then when he offers to throw the shrimp at me, I just like no.
I don't trust your accuracy, sir. Nothing you've done has demonstrated your reliability with these.
I don't like
losing
it when they have the sake in the little ketchup squirter thing, and they want to feed you a shot through a stream from 8 feet away. You're not familiar with this move?
Yeah, I've had
No.
him do that.
No,
yeah.
I haven't seen that.
And
one.
it's not even sake.
What
it's
is
just
it?
like grain alcohol or vodka, because that's the stuff they're like spraying to like get that
shit.
fire to start. Because I remember I think I was like 16 or something at one of these things for a friend's birthday party, and the guy's like, alcohol. And I was like, what is that? Like I should have known. And he's like, "It's alcohol." And I'm like, no, it's not. And he's like, open. And I went over. He gave me like a full shot and a half worth of this thing.
Yeah!
And I was just like 16, like, yeah, it's alcohol. Yeah. Okay. You could have, you know how old I am. Maybe you don't know the fact that you don't know the laws here about that makes me trust your hibachi. You probably just arrived.
Yeah.
So,
Ooh.
they hold it and I've never done it because I'm not a drinker and I don't know, I could cough all over everything or something, like it could
And
go
then
wrong.
a fire breaks out.
Oh my God, yeah, right. I could be a
great
dragon.
scene in a movie. when he coughs and blows fire onto the hibachi chef's face.
That'd be so funny. So I don't want this to happen. I've never caught it, but I've seen it done, and I'm like, this is going on uncomfortably long. They are slowly pouring a shot into that fella's mouth over the course of a minute and a half. Like this.
and you just know that guy's like, come on, man, please. Like, stop.
Yeah. And if you back away, like It's a stream, and it's traveling, right? It must take 5 seconds to get there. I don't know, but some amount of time, and yeah, it's like 8 feet.
Yeah.
It can't be 5
How
seconds, but it might be
you
one.
spray nasty alcohol in your customer mouth? I make it for 40 seconds. It is so easy to do. All the white folk, they don't want to seem racy.
And
I like when they
squirt.
do the sake bombs and they have that big long
I
plank
hate sake.
and they do that crazy. They're like I want to say there's a song that goes along with it, but at the end they like hit the board really hard and all the sake bombs like fall over into the thing and then everybody drinks them at the same time. But I don't love sake,
No.
but if I'm
See,
gonna
the
drink
Japanese
sake,
beat
it's gonna be warm.
Like I could eat Japanese food, I think, every day for the rest of my life. It's so good. I get tired of Mexican food. I get tired of like burgers and pizza and things. I could eat Japanese like hibachi or sushi or whatever every day for the rest of my life. Tier 1 in food, the Japanese.
I'm with Ty.
Alcohol
in that regard.
last place in the whole world because sake is fucking nasty. It's so gross. The first time I ordered it, he was like, hot or cold? And I was like, well, I didn't see this question coming.
I hate that.
I guess like I said hot because I thought, oh, this is how they must do it.
That's the traditional
it
way.
just tastes like nasty tea. It's terrible. And the aftertaste, like it's all, and I love rice, but it's made of rice. It fucking sucks. Sake
It
is
is chaser.
bottom tier alcohol.
Dinner questions are a source of anxiety. Now, I'm not crippled in my chair rocking back and forth or anything, but by and large, it's like, all right, I'd like a filet, medium rare. And they look at me, and I'm like, are there further questions? Do I need to talk about size?
He literally does that.
No, don't be an asshole. But it's like, are there sides coming? What do we need to know? Is there like sometimes there's 7 questions and sometimes there's 0, and then you never know what's coming.
Then you have to do the side shuffle where it's like, and your side,
Yeah.
Fries? You always default to fries because they have that.
If it's steak, baked potato. Do you have a baked potato? No.
Yeah.
Really? No baked potatoes at a place that serves steak? All right.
I usually get their vegetable du jour if I get a steak. Like as long as it's like green beans or asparagus or something. I feel like especially asparagus goes fantastic with steak. No, it does. You're missing out by not eating vegetables, man.
I've had asparagus. I've made my own béarnaise sauce for it. I've had it.
How did you
It's
make
not a
it?
winner.
Like in the oven? Bake it or on the pan?
Oh, the asparagus? Pan. A pan with like olive oil, salt, and pepper.
Okay. If you have like a gas or charcoal grill, they're way better on that too.
Asparagus
throw
is
it on the
not my
grill.
favorite veggie, but you know what makes it better
Wrapped
for
in
me?
bacon.
When it has the big salts on it. The salts you can see. It's
Yeah.
like all right, if we don't eat all this on the asparagus, we're going to take care of the ice out front salt.
Are you serving me asparagus with no big salt on it?
Yeah, my
I want
wife
to be able
makes
to see
it.
the granules.
And it wasn't if you can see the salt, like it really is better
Yeah, it's
than
like rock salt. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I think ours might be. I think it might say kosher on the thing.
Yeah,
on it.
kosher salt.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means other than a rabbi must have blessed it.
No, we looked into this, like, right? Because I thought that the kosher hot dogs literally had a rabbi's blessing, but it turned out that was like a folk tale or some shit. And really, it was just prepared in a certain way, and there was no rabbi at any juncture of the preparation.
You thought rabbis like in mass blessed hot dogs? Like did
I
just go
thought
to
that
the
each
building
hot dog
daily?
plant. I thought that each hot dog plant had a rabbi on staff, and he was just like shalom and good evening, and
Shalom, good evening.
and he'd fucking whatever they do, he'd bris the
Now, this
one
is
of
a
the
very
wieners.
expensive spell to cast.
Yeah, I thought
can't be
that
just going
or
around
maybe
blessing.
what they do is like they get like Lenny, who's also the hot dog casing machine operator. He'd become a rabbi.
Mhm.
He'd get his online certification so that while he's pumping the goo into the machine, he can just be like, and blessed it is.
That's what they do. They walk through and they're looking at like, all right, well, your hot dog factory seems to be just fine. Do any Muslims work here? All right, you're good. Like, that's the entire. That'll be $14,000.
It'd be
That's gotta
fun
be
to
the
have
best
like weird
gig
qualifications.
ever.
Like there's a little piece of me that kind of wishes I could marry people, just in case, like many a TV show, an emergency marriage has to be performed, and I can be like, yeah, I'm an
You can
ordained
do that
minister from
online.
whatever.com.
You could do it online,
I
or
did it
you could just become the
didn't.
captain.
years ago. I did as a joke. Never used it.
So not only can ordained ministers do it, I believe that if you're the captain of a vessel,
Oh,
you
I'm
can also
1/17th captain of a vessel.
there you go. You can 1/17th marry someone. Yeah. Flight
The
Lieutenant
universe,
Mugumbo
become
over
a
there.
minister today. Instantly get ordained online for free at the ULC, the Universal Life Church. Wait, what
Yeah.
religion am I going to be a priest in?
Doesn't
Do
matter.
something hokey.
Well, I mean, but did you know that Conan O'Brien, Stephen Colbert, The Rock, Benedict Cumberbatch, Richard Branson, Lady Gaga, Sir Ian McKellen, and Paul McCartney are all ULC ministers?
I did not.
No.
ULC
Because
does not
that's
sound
what
very
this-
prestigious.
That's what this is claiming right now, and I don't know if I believe it. That's so funny. Can you prank marry somebody? Where it's like, oh, in this TV show, you guys have to get married, and then you put a real minister up there and do it, and then they're married for real, like a
Like in The
Jackass
Office.
thing. Oh shit! Did that happen in The Office?
Yeah, in The Office, basically Dwight was going to host Angela's wedding to Andy Bernard, and he's like, and
You're right.
here's-
I just stole an Office bit. Okay.
Yeah. And after it's over, she's like, "That was beautiful," and he's like, "Well, just so you know, he's a real minister, and he said the words, you said I do, I said I do, and you're wearing my ring, so fuck, could you just trick marry me?"
That's so funny.
It's time to wrap, but I do want to quickly say congratulations, Taylor. Your St. Louis Blues won. Yeah, they're going to the second round.
It's the Dallas Stars, and I'm pulling for the Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes win tomorrow, and the Sixers win tonight.
All right. Yeah, hopefully by PKA time.
I'm doing the
Carolina will be in
opposite
second
of
round.
what Taylor does.
Actually, wait. Go Washington.
Oh, well, thank you.
Go Washington, go Dallas. And Kyle, you probably have the best bracket in the country right now. Based on
Well, you have St. Louis to win the whole thing. And if that happens, you might rival Kyle's first round picks.
maybe, but I'm just getting massacred in this first round. Like he's been right about if Toronto wins over Boston tonight in Game 7, it's a lock. Like Kyle will have gotten 6 out of 8 of them, like out of the first round. So
Shocking.
yep.
Shocking.
Proud of you.
Me too. Everyone is.
Oh,
All right. PKN
all right.
244.